Good evening. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. We're just getting started, so I'm going to give time for everybody to join before we get rolling. If you're new here, my name is Mike. I'm a travel agent that specializes in Disney. We do these live talks on Tuesday nights where I answer questions from friends that send them in. We do news, rumors, promotions, and then we end with a little bit of fun. Hey, Katie, how are you? And so I'm live on TikTok on my phone, and I'm live on YouTube over here on my laptop. Hi, Cece. Welcome in. How are you tonight? Katie, it's good to see you. One thing I've not figured out yet is how to take care of this glare off my glasses. Although on my laptop, that might fix it a little bit. It's probably solved that, but on my phone, I can't figure it out. Big problems, right? That I can't figure out how to take care of the glare off my glasses. We got a handful of questions to answer tonight. Got some news. Some of it is not necessarily breaking. Some of it is stuff that came out today. We'll talk about the different promotions that are going on right now. Yeah, do that, Katie. That'd be great. Thank you. And then we're going to play some ABCs. I got 2 ABC topics for us for tonight to do. We've been having a lot of fun last few sessions doing ABCs. So hopefully you'll be able to stick around and have fun with us. Not yet, Katie. You got to wait. But that might work. Maybe. I can't tell you because then I'd tell you what the subjects are. So you have to just wait and see. Hello, Helen. Welcome in. Good evening. Hello, anybody who joined on YouTube. Welcome in. We're going to give some folks a little bit of time to join before we start going through the questions that were asked. Cece, are you still with me on YouTube? You're up first on questions. Katie, it's the Park Life Podcast YouTube channel. You can join there if you'd like. Oh, perfect, Cece. Good. I'm glad you're here. You're my first 2 questions. So yeah, Katie, it's the Park Life Podcast YouTube channel that I'm running off of. I've had some complications with the network freezing up on me just on YouTube over the last handful of weeks. So I started doing the dual with TikTok so that hopefully I can A, engage more people, and B, at least have one platform that's not freezing up on me occasionally. Skell, welcome in. Good to see you. How are you tonight? Show of hands, did anybody do Taco Tuesday today? Anybody have tacos today? And if not, what did you have? I made chicken and broccoli stir fry for dinner tonight, and it was really, really good. It's one of my favorites. I had ate dinner all by myself, though. My wife was out doing some stuff, and my 19-year-old son was taking a nap. So I had a nice, quiet dinner to myself. And now here I am with you guys. Katie, you have a question? Go for it. Ask away. You guys are always welcome to ask questions. Cece, we're going to give it about 2 more minutes, and I'm going to start with your questions. If you know somebody that would enjoy hearing some Disney chat and having some fun with us, let them know. Share this out. Have them join us. We will talk Disney and have some fun tonight. I'm going to try not to go too terribly long tonight. One of my other passions besides Disney is I love Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, and that's this week. So I got to hurry up and get to my Discovery Channel. If I go to Disney with IV medications, do I need a medical card for them to store it in the park? I don't think you need a medical card, Katie. As long as the medication has the prescription on it, I think you're fine. It doesn't hurt to bring additional documentation just in case, but typically, as long as the medication is in the prescribed packaging, for instance, if you were taking pills and you took them out of the prescription bottle and put them in some generic bag, they probably wouldn't accept those. But if you keep them in the prescriptions, prescription containers, you don't have any issues with that. All right, Cece, are you ready? Let's get rolling. Yeah, the first aid station. That's right, Katie. So the Magic Kingdom, that is over by Crystal Palace restaurant there. You walk down Main Street to the circular hub, and it's off to the left is where you would find that at. Okay, CC is ready. So CC asked, good spots to watch the brand new Starlight Parade. So that's the new nighttime parade that officially kicked off Sunday night, but they had soft openings on Friday and Saturday. And so that's what Cece's asking about is the new Starlight Parade. Yeah, Helen, Shark Week, I love it. Discovery Channel every year, watch it all the time. So, okay. So Cece, I have a handful of different answers for you. Now, obviously out of fairness, I'm not there. I haven't seen it yet. So I'll tell you my answers are based off of what I think logically makes sense. Some of you guys will probably tell me that I'm crazy and I don't make logical sense, but that's okay for now. If your intent is to leave the park immediately after the parade, the best place for you to stand would be right by the train station on either side, closest to one of those two exits. So once the last float goes by, you can exit right out the door there and you're good to go. And I guess I should start by saying, just a reminder that unlike the Festival of Fantasy Parade during the day, the nighttime parade, Starlight Parade, starts at the front of the park by the barbershop and goes down Main Street and ends in Frontierland over by Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So if your hope is to get out of the park right after the parade, then up by the train station on either side is probably your best spot. If after the parade is over, your goal is to go hit up things in Tomorrowland, then I would say your best spot might be close to the ice cream parlor, which is right at the end of Main Street, closest towards the castle. That would be a good spot. As soon as it's over, you can go down that pathway, walk through the Tomorrowland Terrace Cafe outdoor seating area, and get over to Tomorrowland pretty easily. If after the parade, assuming you're watching the first showing of the parade, if your goal is to be able to see the fireworks or to get to Fantasyland to ride any of the rides back there, then probably just to my right of the stage, there's a walkway to Fantasyland there. That's probably a pretty good spot. Hey, Dina, welcome in. I've not gotten your questions yet. That's probably a pretty good spot to watch the parade there so that as soon as the last float goes by, you can turn around and head right down that walkway. Likewise, if your hope is to do things in Frontierland, Adventureland, Liberty Square, probably closest to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but understand that the parade gets there last because that's where it ends. So if the parade starts at 9 p.m., it may be closer to 9:20 or even 9:30 before the parade gets to you. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for what I would call the best straight on view, having the parade come right at you, in my mind, that would be right down Main Street, the circle there, the hub in the middle of the circle there by the castle. Park yourself right there and look right down Main Street towards the train station. That would probably give you the best head-on view of the parade itself. So those are a handful of ideas that I have for you, Cece, as far as where to watch the new Starlight Parade. For me, I guess, first time watching it, it's going to be less about what is the best spot for any of those other things and just what is a comfortable place that isn't overly crowded, especially if you're going anytime soon. It's still hot as blazes down there. The more space you have between you and other people, the more comfortable it can be. So hopefully that helps, Cece. Cece's next question was, in Galaxy's Edge, are there any interactive things to do? So these are a variety of things that I know of, Cece, that are there. I'll tell you, I've never done any of them. I don't probably spend as much time in Galaxy's Edge as I should to take in all of the atmosphere and environment that comes with it. But obviously, you can build a lightsaber. That's one of the interactive things you can do there. There's a cost involved, obviously. You can build a droid at the droid station. That's something else you can do there, which is a pretty cool deal. Just the Millennium Falcon ride itself is interactive because you have a role to play, whether you're the pilot or the engineer, so forth. That's interactive. You can get onto the Play Disney app. On there, there's a Star Wars data pad that is interactive. There are in-queue games that you can play. There's a Batuu Bounty Hunters. For that, you need both the Disney Play app and the Magic Band Plus. They interact with one another. So that's something that you can do. And then the last one that I consider this to be interactive, I think it's very unique. And Cece, I think of you because I know how much you love Star Wars. Scheduling a capture your moment photo session in Batuu. Amazing. I mean, just think about the different background shots that they would get for you. If you're not familiar with the capture your moment packages, it's basically a photo shoot. It's a 20-minute photo shoot. It's $99 for the photo shoot. That does not include any of the prints or photos, just like any place else that you go to with a photo shoot. But it's a pretty spectacular thing. And right now they have a promotion going through September 1st, $20 off the capture your moments photo session. So I think of you, Cece, I think that would be a lot of fun to do a photo shoot in Galaxy's Edge. So those are some different things you can think of. Helen said, watch for the lightsaber photo shot area after dark. Yeah, obviously you get a lot of that. The Play app is cool. Helen, the Star Wars nerd, says, hey, Project Loop, how are you? Welcome in. Good to see you. And I will do my normal welcome again. If you just joined, welcome in. I am on TikTok on my phone and I'm on YouTube on my laptop. My name is Mike. I'm a travel agent that specializes in Disney. We do these chats every Tuesday night, answer questions, talk news, rumors, fun facts, and then we play games at the end. So just going through the questions right now, and then we'll get into the other stuff. CC, thumbs up. Are you good on those two? And if not, any follow-up questions, you can go ahead and ask those, and I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, Dina, are you? Yep, Dina, I see you. So we're going to go to Dina's questions. Boy, you and CC both hit me up on Starlight Parade questions right out of the gate. Love it. So Dina's first question, do you think that the new parade will have two parade times when the time change happens in November, which I think that's usually the first weekend in November, right after Halloween? And then follow up to that, will the time of the parade and fireworks change once summer is over? Obviously, Dina, just like my answers to CC, first off, I've not been down there to see the parade, the new parade myself. I've honestly avoided watching much of any of it on live streams or replays or photos, selfishly maybe, but just I want it to be as fresh and brand new to me when I see it for the first time in November when we're down there. So I don't have a lot of context about the parade itself, but the strategic type things like this, I can answer to the best of my ability. Cool, Loop. Hey, JJ, welcome in. JJ, I'm also on my TikTok account. If you'd rather go over there, you're welcome in both places if you want, whatever works for you. Okay, so first off, real quick note, as far as the Starlight Parade goes, whenever there are parties, so the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which starts in the middle of August, or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that starts in the early part of November, on party nights, there is no Starlight Parade. So keep that in mind. If you happen to go thinking you're going to see the new nighttime parade on a party night, they don't have the parade then. So just make that note. So Dina, honestly, this is probably more of a guess on my part. I think it's somewhat educated. It seems logical, makes sense to me. But I think the Starlight Parade will move to once per night as we get later into fall. Um, Now, could I argue? I could probably argue both ways. One, because it gets dark earlier, they don't necessarily need to run the parade twice. They don't typically keep the park open as late at night when you get into October, November, December. But I could also argue that because they won't be showing it 7 nights a week during party season, that they could do 2 nights or two times each night on non-party nights. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Right now, all they have is Happily Ever After is scheduled to be at 10 p.m. all the way through August 30th. So you can kind of figure that they're probably going to keep the parade at 9 and 11 through the end of August. August 31st, however, Happily Ever After moves to 9:30 p.m. So my guess is there'll be an adjustment in the parade schedule once we hit the end of August. And usually, again, the earlier the sunset, the earlier the park closes. They don't typically stay open until 11 p.m. once it gets dark at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. Happily Ever After historically moves to earlier times in the fall and the spring, and even earlier in the winter, always around sunset. So in the wintertime, 7:30, I think. Fall and spring, it's usually between 8 and 8:30 that you get the parade happening or the fireworks happening. Hey, Tina, welcome in. How are you? Good to see you. So, and Dean, I'll tell you, they're not publishing schedules for the parade much more than about 2 weeks out. So it's just a wait and see type of thing. I think once we get out of the summer vacation stretch and it gets a little bit darker, a little bit earlier, we'll start to see some modifications in how they have everything scheduled. So hopefully that helps some, but again, it's probably going to be a wait and see. And clearly, Dina, by the time we all go down there in November and hang out together, we'll have probably a pretty good sense of what's going to happen leading up to that time. Hey, Jules, welcome in. Holly, welcome in. How are you? Good to see you. Sam, hi, welcome in. How are you tonight? Wow, great to see you. All right, Dina's second question asked about the distance between the all-star resorts, so all-star sports, music, and movies. Is it walking distance? And can you take an all-star bus and then walk to any of them? And I'll hold the last question of the all-stars to answer that separately here. So first off, Dina, there is a walking path between all three of the all-stars. So it starts at all-star sports, music, and then movies. The path from one end to the other is approximately 1 mile in length. So it's not horribly long, especially if you've walked all day in a park. What's another mile, right? Holly, it's good to see you. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. So it's very walkable, very manageable. You will see, especially in the mornings, a lot of joggers out there. I will never be one of them, but you will see a lot of them out there. So depending upon, if you're going from sports all the way to movies, it's about a mile walk. If you're going sports to music, it's, I don't even think it's a half mile. It's a little bit shorter. And then music to movies is a little bit longer, I believe. But all very manageable, absolutely walkable. So with that in mind, if you're at Magic Kingdom and you're getting ready to leave the park and you're staying at All Star Sports, but the bus is sitting there for music and there's no waiting, no line, you can get right on it. You can absolutely do that. Take that bus to music and then get on the walking path and head over to sports. That's certainly an option to do. A lot of people will do that, save time that way. Dina, your last question was, can you use any of the all-star pools if you're staying at one of the all-star resorts? So staying at all-star sports, can I go swim at all-star music or all-star movies? And if any of you are somewhat knowledgeable in Disney resorts, you're probably saying, no, you can't. In general, you cannot pool hop from one Disney resort to another. If you're staying at the Boardwalk, you can't go over to Caribbean Beach and swim there, for instance. The All-Stars are the one exception to that. If you're staying at any one of the three All-Stars, you can swim in the pools at any of the other All-Stars. It is unique to the All-Star resorts only. So pretty cool. Dina, good follow-up questions? And anybody who's on, if you have questions, you can absolutely ask. Did I miss anything over here? I don't think I did. Nope. Okay. All right. Dina's good. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty cool that you can do that at the All Stars. It's very nice, very helpful. We stayed at All Star Sports in May when we were there. I love the All Star resorts. They're great. I think they're for the price. What you get is great. Honestly, I'm a believer that any of the value resorts, you get more of the feel of Disney than you do at the moderate and deluxe resorts. Holly, that does not include Pop Century. No, Pop is not included in the All Stars family of swimming pool hopping. Pop, along with all the other resorts, no pool hopping. But I think All Stars are great. I like Pop Century more just because of the Skyliner and being able to take that to All Star, take that to Hollywood Studios, take that Epcot, and just have a different, unique experience in ride in transportation. Families, that's funny, Helen. But like I said, we stayed at All Star Sports, loved it. Great experience. I think, especially if you're going to be at the parks most all of the time. Hey, Shannon, welcome in. There's no reason to, in my mind anyway, to spend for moderate or deluxe resorts when you're going to be at the park most of the time. You get all of the Disney that you want out of the value resorts. Great experience. Okay, let's look at that. It's 21 minutes in. We're going to talk quick news, and then we're going to play games. And if you just joined a little bit ago, I said I wasn't going to go too long tonight because it's Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, and I'm a big Shark Week fan. Every year we watch that all the time, so I got to hurry up and get down there. The next new episode starts in 9 minutes. Not that we'll be done in 9, but at least we'll be able to catch some of it. So let's see here. News that I scribbled down. First off, today was the first day that non-resort guests could book their Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party tickets or their Jollywood Party tickets. Resort guests had that opportunity starting last week on Tuesday the 16th, Wednesday the 16th. I will tell you, I checked just before I went live. None of the Christmas party dates at Magic Kingdom or at Hollywood Studios have sold out yet. Not surprising since they just opened it up to non-resort guests today. I would imagine that the very first one, which is November 7th, and the last one, which is December 21st for Mickey's Very Merry, will probably sell out first. If you're going with us in November to the Park Life Party and you have not bought your party tickets yet, you probably have time, but I'd buy them sooner rather than later so that you're not shut out. Let's see here. Also, just announced today for brand new annual pass holders. If you're not a annual pass holder member at all now, never have been, and you have thoughts of buying a brand new annual pass for a limited time right now, when you purchase that annual pass, if it's an IncrediPass, you get a $100 gift card, Disney gift card. If it's a Sorcerer Pass, it's $75. Pirate Pass is $50, and Pixie Dust Pass is $25. If you're not familiar with annual passes at all and you're interested in what each of those are, make it relatively simple. The IncrediPass, if you live outside of the state of Florida, you can only buy the IncrediPass with one exception. So outside of the state of Florida, IncrediPass is your only option with one exception. The Sorcerer Pass, which is the second level down, Florida residents, and if you happen to be a DVC member, you could buy that. So if you live outside the state of Florida and you're DVC, you can get the Sorcerer or IncrediPass. Otherwise, if you live outside of the state of Florida, it's IncrediPass only. Pirate Pass is available to Florida residents, and then the Pixie Pass is also available to Florida residents. The levels give you more access. So Pixie Pass, and I'm going off memory here, so don't quote me, but Pixie Pass is weekdays only for Florida residents. The Pirate Pass, I think, is weekdays and weekends with blackout dates around holidays and busy times, spring break, things like that, the week of Christmas, week of New Year's. The Sorcerer Pass opens up weekends and I think holidays. but is blocked out for the busy times. And then Incredipass has no blackout dates whatsoever. Oh, thank you, Holly. Appreciate that. Helen, Helen. So Helen said, as far as the limitations of the annual pass, that stinks, especially for those of us that live close. Heck, if I could buy the Pirate Pass, maybe the Sorcerer Pass, even though I live in Nebraska, I would do it. If I only get down there once a year, so be it. But I don't know why they limit us to that. That kind of drives me bonkers. Madeline and Elias, welcome in. How are you guys? Good to see you. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully y'all had a great Taco Tuesday today. So Dina asked, what does the out-of-state pass run? I think, Dina, and again, don't quote me, but I think the Incredipass now is $1,550, $1,590. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. Since you just asked me about the price, one other thing that 49 out of the 50 states don't get, if you live inside the state of Florida, A, you get 4 different options to pick from. B, you can make monthly payments. You have a deposit that you pay, and then you have an equal monthly payment over the course of the 12 months. For the other 49 states, even if you live just across the border in Georgia, you have to pay full price up front. You do not get monthly payments through Disney. So that's kind of a bummer, which again, I don't understand. Financing should be financing. It should work for everybody, but it is what it is. Dina, if you have more interest in knowing more about the annual passes, I can look up some information for you and share that with you. Shoot me a note, and I'd be happy to do that. Let's see here. So the Starlight Parade, the official opening was Sunday. They had soft opening Friday night, Saturday night. Again, right now it's running at 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. with Happily Ever After happening at 10 p.m. Today was the official opening or reopening of Test Track, even though they had a soft opening a couple days, and then they had annual pass holder, DVC member, and cast member previews. I can tell you I looked multiple times today, and Test Track was down for several hours. It was down. It was down almost all afternoon. I checked again after dinner. It was down. I checked just before I went live. It was down. So not a very good opening date for Test Track. Hopefully whatever issues they're having, those have been alleviated. Helen, at one point, I know it was a 2-hour, when park first opened, it went boom like that to a 2-hour wait. I saw people standing in line for a long time, but it went down, and it was down for several hours. So unfortunate for that. Let's see here. What else do I have written down? Okay. The breaking news that came this morning, I think around 9 o'clock Central, if I'm not mistaken, was the big announcement about changes happening at Hollywood Studios. And I'm not talking about Muppets 3D Vision. I'm not talking about Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm not talking about the Monsters Inc. land. They are going to be redoing the Animation Courtyard and Star Wars Launch Bay in particular. I just scribbled down a few notes. I didn't want to write down a whole dissertation on this, but they are going to have a Disney animation-inspired experience that will come to Hollywood Studios in 2026. Atop the building, they are going to have the Mickey Sorcerer hat. It won't be the big giant one that we used to see in front of the Chinese theater, but they will have the Mickey Sorcerer hat on top of the building. The building itself is going to be designed similar to the Roy Disney building out in Anaheim. Launch Bay will become the magic of Disney animation. It will be indoors. It will be interactive. There's going to be a playground for little ones. The portraits will come to life. There's going to be an opportunity to do some drawings of your own, drawing some of the characters. In addition to that, the outside courtyard area is also going to be reimagined into the Walt Disney Studios. During this time, starting September 25th, the Animation Courtyard and Disney Junior Play and Dance will close while they do this project. The Little Mermaid musical, that indoor show that just opened at the end of May, It will remain open. You will be able to access that, but the rest of the courtyard will all be closed off starting September 25th while they do that work. Opens in 2026 is all they gave us. They did not give us anything additional as far as summer, fall, winter, spring, anything like that. So more to come. Yeah, CC, I thought about you when they said that they were going to close the Star Wars launch bay. Couple of comments on that. One, as a part of this, there's also going to be additional character meet and greets inside the new, what did I call it? The new Walt Disney Studios. So that'll be exciting. My hope, CC, is that they take the Star Wars launch bay, all those meet and greets, and they take them to Galaxy's Edge where they should have been all along. I wish there would be an opportunity to figure out how to incorporate Star Tours into Galaxy's Edge, but I think that entrance into what will become Monsters Inc. Land really messes that up. Blake, how are you? Welcome in. Good to see you, buddy. So that was all I had for news. Obviously, there'll be more to come on the Hollywood Studios news, but yeah, more moving and shaking when it comes to Hollywood Studios. Apparently, Disney must have found some extra construction walls, so they figured, what the heck, let's do another project. That's probably not what happened, but Project Loop. I love Star Wars, our Star Tours as well. I just wish that they could incorporate it into Galaxy's Edge to that whole area. I think it'd be great. But again, that courtyard that leads into what used to be Muppets 3D, that's going to now become Monsters Inc. Land, is going to make it impossible in my mind to be able to pull Star Tours into Galaxy's Edge. I just wish they could do it. I've said this before, probably on one of these lives. I think it would be really cool if once the Indiana Jones ride opens up at Animal Kingdom, that they took the Indiana Jones stunt show and moved it over to Animal Kingdom, and they turn that theater into some type of a Star Wars interactive show. I think that'd be amazing. It's not going to happen, but it'd be amazing. But then you'd have to pull that whole area into Galaxy's Edge. So not happening. Okay, let's talk. It would be epic if they could do that. Yes, bring back the Jedi training. Absolutely. Project Loop, is it fair to say that most ride openings start rocky, or have they just been running into some bad luck lately? Project Loop, I don't know if you joined when I said that Test Track has been down most of the day today, and today was the official opening. It is fascinating to me because I didn't hear about a lot of downtime when they were doing the cast member previews or the DVC or annual pass holder previews. So I don't know if it's just bad luck or what the case may be. I don't know. There's a part of me, though, that I wish they would do away with soft openings. If you announce the opening date to be X, have that be the date, period. I think if I went to Disney World and I knew, well, I'll give you a prime example. I was there for the very first night of Luminous, December 5th, I think it was, 2023. 5th or 6th, one of those two. Had there been, glitches in that show that night, I would have walked away saying, hey, it was opening night. I get it. That happens, right? I mean, you think about if you were ever in your high school play or had somebody that was involved in that sort of thing. Opening night might have jitters and might have things that go a little south. The next night goes better. And so I wish they would just say, if this is the, Test Track open today, if Starlight open on Sunday, no soft openings, just let those be the nights. I don't know. There's a whole thing I get into in my head when it comes to these sorts of things. Sometimes I wish that, well, let's just use Starlight Parade. They tell us it's going to come in the summer. Sometimes I wish that's all they said. And then Sunday night, everybody found out, oh my God, it just happened. They just had the first one. Or they just announced it's starting in 10 minutes or whatever it is. And I say that because I think about the family from Bismarck, North Dakota, and I'm making up a city, that just happens to be on vacation down there when one of these big things launches. When it gets advertised a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time, they have soft openings, all these other things. Sometimes I feel like the family who just happened to be there out of just dumb luck might get squeezed out of seeing things from a prime location because all of the locals, and if you're local, I apologize, but all of the locals here, oh, soft openings tomorrow night. We changed our plans. We're going there. But I don't even know how I got off on all this sort of thing. But Luke, your question about rocky starts, I think it's just bad luck right now. I think that's all it is bad luck. Yeah. So, okay. Luke said interesting and true. Yeah. I think about the family that just happened, they booked their vacation. Like right now, I could book a vacation for next October in 2026. If I book it right now, none of us, even Disney at this point, has no idea if something new is going to happen the week that I'd be there in October. And come then that time, if something new does launch and they share it openly a week or two before, or they have, surprise soft openings and it leaks out and gets shared, all of a sudden the park that I planned my trip because crowd levels historically aren't horrible. Now the park is at capacity and it's busting at the seams, and my kids are now waiting in lines that we shouldn't be experiencing because A, I had dumb luck of falling into a trip at that time, and B, they shared out ahead of time that they'd have a soft opening. So I don't know. I understand it. It helps them from a logistics standpoint, whether it's the people walking the parade, crowd control, security, lights, music, all of that stuff. It gives them opportunity to get into a flow before the actual opening date. But I don't know. There's good and bad, I guess, with both. Okay, let's hit promotions real quick, and then we're playing our game. Let's see here. Right now, Disney World, listen up if you're planning on coming to see us for the Park Life Party, November 13th through the 15th. They have room promotions up to 20% off on rooms most nights, October 12th through November 20th, as well as November 23rd through Christmas Day. You could stay at Disney World on Christmas night and get a discount. If in your package room and tickets, you're there for at least 4 park days or more. If you're staying at a value resort, you get a $50 gift card, $75 for moderate, and $100 for deluxe resort guests. So a nice little add-on feature. If you hop on an airplane and it goes left and takes you to California, they at Disneyland have up to 20% off rooms August 17th through December 19th. So a nice little option there. Helen, listen up. This one will immediately won't apply to you, but I'll follow up and it will apply to you. For Walt Disney World Florida residents, those darn pesky residents get 4 different annual passes. Florida residents can get up to, for dates November 16th through the 29th. So it's after Park Life Party, and December 12th through Christmas night. You can stay at these resorts for these prices. Again, this is Florida residents only. Helen, I'll get to you in a second, though. $129 for All-Star Sports. $199 per night. $199 per night for Port Orleans Riverside. $299 a night for the for Art of Animation Lion King Suite. $319 a night for Saratoga Springs. $429 a night for the Animal Kingdom Lodge Safari Room, Safari View, Savannah View. And then $449 per night for the Boardwalk. Again, that's Florida residents, November 16th through the 29th, December 12th through the 25th. Georgia residents, all that I just said applies to you as well. What the heck? Georgia residents, you get the same deal. All-Star Sports, $129 a night. Port Orleans Riverside, $199 a night. Art of Animation Lion King Suite, $299 a night. Saratoga, $319. Savannah View Rooms at Animal Kingdom Lodge, $429. And the Boardwalk, $449. Yeah, isn't that great, Helen, that they opened that up to Georgia residents? I thought that was pretty cool. And there we have our promotions. Who's ready to play games? Keep me honest. Last week, I think we did 3 ABCs. Did we not? I know we did villains. I know we did heroes. And did we do Disney snacks? I'm sure we did. I know we did. We did Disney snacks too, didn't we not? Did we only do 2 last week, Helen? I think, didn't we do all 3 of those at some point though? Shannon, they probably waited for you to leave Georgia to do the deal. Okay, so we have done all 3 of them. Okay, cool. Helen, I know we did heroes, didn't we? We did heroes or heroines? I'm sure we did. We did villains and snacks. Oh, we've not done heroes. Oh, okay. Good enough then. Well, then let's start. We'll start with heroes. Then I have 3 that we can do tonight if we have time. So these are heroes or heroines. So either or. We will start with the letter A. Letter A, hero or heroine? You forgot to do your homework. Wolf with Aladdin. That's a good one. Tina, I like that one. That's a really good one. Good start. Anthony said Aladdin. Hey, Anthony, good to see you, buddy. Aurora said Helen. That works. Aladdin said Cece. We're going to kind of go rapid fire because I want to get through all 3 of these tonight. I said Ariel for my hero or heroine. Let's go to letter B. Abu, says Shannon. That's great. I love that. You guys always do good with some random ones. Let's go to letter B, though. Buzz Lightyear, says Anthony. Baloo, says Wolf. Project Loop says Belle. BB8 says Cece, love it. Buzz says Helen. Cece, I love your answers. Baymax. Oh, Dina, that is awesome. That's one of my favorite movies. I say this all the time. I think Baymax or Big Hero 6 and Up are 2 very under the radar, underappreciated, underpromoted movies from that group. Bing Bong, says Shannon. I had Belle on my list. Yeah, Tina, you can always count on Cece. Dana Baymax, gosh darn that movie, Big Hero 6. I love that movie. I could watch that all the time. Okay, let's go to letter C. C as in Charlie. Who is your hero or heroine? Cheshire Cat, says Tina. Shannon says Cogsworth. I like that one. Cinderella, says Cece. Carl says Project Loop. Speaking of Up. Cinderella. I have Cinderella on my list. Carl is totally perfect, right on time. JJ with Bullseye. I like that one for B. Cruz Ramirez, says Shannon. Awesome. I love that. All right, let's go to D. Your hero or heroine for the letter D. Doug, says Tina. Donald, Doug. Dory, Doug. I think you got behind on the lie, JJ. That's okay. Donald says Project Loop. CC has Doug. Yeah, I can't say Darth Vader. He's not a hero. Although maybe at the very end when he turns himself back over to Luke. Dante, says Anthony. That's a good one. All right, let's go to the letter E. E for everybody. What's everybody's answer? Esmeralda. Eeyore, says Blake. I like that. He's the under the radar hero. Eve. Elsa says Cece. That's who I had on my list. Cece was Elsa. Eva. Dina also says Eve. We got some Eves in the house. That's another movie that I think is really well done. Doesn't get a lot of play, though. All right, let's go to F. Who is your F? Oh, Shannon with Edna Mode. Falcon, says Anthony. Phoebe, says Tina. Ferb, not Phoebe, Ferb. Love Phineas and Ferb. We watch that all the time. Briggs loves Phineas and Ferb. Figaro, says Helen. Flower, says Shannon. It's all right. Flounder, says JJ. Good one. I went with Frozone is my hero. Because he is a hero, right? Superhero. All right, let's go to letter G. What you got for letter G? Hero. Genie. Very good, Blake. Gus. Goofy. Shannon, of course, right? Number one in my book. Tina and Cece both say Goofy. I read between the lines there, Tina. I knew what you meant. Now Gaston, we can't call him a hero now, can we? Mark, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. We are playing ABCs of Disney. We're doing heroes right now. We are getting ready to move on to the letter H. If you have a hero, a Disney hero character that starts with the letter H, pop it in the chat. I understand. Yes, Gaston would call himself a hero. That's right. Han Solo says Cece, of course. Hercules. Guess what I said? Hercules. Lots of Hercules. It's Cece's Han Solo. All right, letter I. What do you got for I? Hero that starts with letter I. Tina, I don't know who that is. Ma'am, Imelda. You have to tell me who that is. Dina says Incredibles. I had Mr. Incredible. Iago has Shannon over there. Isabella. Oh, Mama Imelda from Coco the Skeleton. That's a movie I've not seen from start to finish. I've watched bits and pieces of it. Indiana Jones. There you go. Anthony, that's a really good one. Isabella, says Cece. All right, let's go to J. Who do you got for J? JJ, I hope I know who you're going to say for your J. Jane Banks, Jack, Jasmine. I had Jasmine on mine, Project Loop. JJ, are you there? Are you going to give me your J hero? Jimmy, Jack, as in Jack who, JJ? Which Jack? Judy Hopps, Jack, says Cece. Jack Sparrow, says Anthony. Blake, if it was easy, we'd all be doing it, right? That's what makes it fun. Jesse, says Dina. That's a good one. I like that one. Jack, says Shannon. JJ, who's your Jack? What's Jack's last name? Skellington, thank you. Jack Sparrow, thank you. He was an accidental hero, didn't do it intentionally. I was thinking Jack Skellington all the way with you, JJ. Okay, let's go do the letter K. Does anybody have a K hero? I did not have a K hero. Couldn't think of one. Kala, Tarzan's adoptive mom. Wow, Cece, that's good. Killian Jones from once. Kusku, Kanga, Ka. Now, isn't Ka the bad guy, though, in that movie, Shannon? Because I think I had him as my villain when we did those. All right, let's move on then. L. We still got 2 more of these to go through. Letter L. Who's your L hero? Lilo, says Tina. Leia. Of course, Cece says Leia. Lilo says Dina. Little John says Anthony. For me, I revved my engines and I went with Lightning McQueen. Lucky, says Shannon. Lightning McQueen. Project Loop. There you go. Blake with Lightning McQueen. All right. Who's your M? Hero or heroine? Letter M. Merida, says Tina. That's a good one. That's such a good movie, too. Mary Poppins, says Shannon. I like that. Moana, says Dina. So do I, Dina. I said Moana. Project Loop says Megara. I don't know who that is. Mary Poppins says Cece. Mike Wazowski, says Anthony. I like that. Miko drops in Shannon with that one. Marlon, says Blake. That's another good one. Start thinking about it. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Yep, Anthony just dropped Marlon over there. Awesome. All right. Who's your N? N is Nancy. Who's your N hero? Nemo, says Tina. Nemo. Nala, says Anthony. Nala is who I had, Anthony. Nana. Ooh, good one. Shannon. Nala, says Blake. Got that. Nick Wilde, says Dina. Nala, says Cece. Very good. A lot of us circled in on Nala. All right, how about the letter O? Nora, says Shannon. Anybody have an O? Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, says Tina. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Obi-Wan, says Project Loop. Obi-Wan says Cece. I'll say Cece if you don't say that. You'd be kicking yourself. Oliver, says Shannon. I like that one. That's a good one, too. Obi-Wan. Isn't like Obi's got to be like the best Jedi of all of them, isn't he? I mean, he's just the coolest from start to finish. But that's for another time. Let's go to the letter P. Who's your letter P? Shannon with Pascal. Padme, says Tina. You guys are edging in on Cece's territory. Peter Pan says Luke. Wait and see if anybody says mine. We got Padme, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, says Dina. Tina, that's who I had, was Pinocchio. Cece with Poe. Pocahontas from your hometown, says Shannon. So I had Pocahontas as well. Cece did well with Poe. I like that. All right, letter Q. Do we have a Q hero? Quasimodo, says Tina. Quasimodo, says Project Loop. Quasimodo, says Dina. Cece says Quasimodo. Cece, I thought you were going to say Queen Amidala. That's what I thought I was going to see from you. Guess you can't have all Star Wars answers. You got to have a little diversity. All right, let's go to the letter R. Who is your R hero or heroine? Remy, says Shannon. Rabbit, says Tina. Rapunzel, says Blake. Blake, that's who I had. Robin Hood, that is Disney. Project Loop, yes. Rapunzel, says Dina. Same. Dina, you and I have had several that are the same. Cece says Ray. So Dina, we'll have a good time when we meet up in November. Roxanne, Remy, Rue, says Shannon. I knew it wasn't 2, Shannon. I knew it had to be Rue. All right, let's go to S. Who is your S? Ray says CC for R. That's right, Dina. Great minds think alike. Somehow I'm just barely keeping up, though. Sully says Tina. Blake, I'm guessing you meant Sully. Because if you meant Sally, I don't know who Sally is, unless you're Jack Skellington and Sally. Simba says Dina. Let's see, Dina. I had Simba. I had Simba on my list, Dina. I swear to God, it's written down right here. I had Simba. Sid says Shannon. Sleepy. Sadness. Sally from Cars says Blake. Very good. Yeah, Dina, I have it written right here. If you don't believe me, I'll save it and bring it with me in November. I won't because I'll forget, but it sounded good. All right, let's go to letter T. Who's your T hero? Thumper. Shannon drops in Thumper right away. Boom. I love it. That's a great one. Tigger says Tina. Very good. Dina says Tiana. Ooh, we didn't match that time. Tom Sawyer says Loop. Timothy Q. Is that a Q or no? Q Mouse. Tiana says Cece. Thomas O'Malley, the Alley Cat, says Anthony. I went with Tarzan. Tiana's a very good one, but I went with Tarzan. Does anybody have a U? I do not have a U. Couldn't think of one. Tinkerbell, says Anthony. Triton, says Shannon. Good one with Tinkerbell, Anthony. Timon, says JJ. Good one. Ursula. Loop, I'm not so sure Ursula is much of a hero. She is Tina's hero, yes. But Tina's also the one of this whole group that likes Mission Space and Epcot. Everybody else wants to get rid of it. Is that right, Tina? Did I have that one right? Unknown character, says Anthony. Unknown, says Shannon. Yes. Quick instant replay. Tina says, keep Mission Space, get rid of Living with the Land. I think that was the one, wasn't it, Tina? Shannon's already moved on. She's like, we're done with you. Let's go on TUV. Do we do V? We got to do V before we do W. Don't be jumping too far ahead of me now. Anybody with a V? I had one. Victor from Coco says Tina. Violet. Ooh, Violet from The Incredibles. That's a good one. Vanellope. I had Vanellope. Tina. I swear to God, I had Vanellope. Violet, says Anthony. I got to do the little puzzle thing here on my TikTok screen. There we go. Okay. Yep, Violet from The Incredibles. Helen said. Yep. Okay. Now we can do W. Shannon, now you go to W. Wally, says Tina. Blake says Wally. Anthony and Shannon both had Wendy. Project Loop. Does Walt count? Heck yeah, Walt counts. Walt is the ultimate hero. Without Walt, we don't have any of this stuff. Dina with Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, Shannon, you and Anthony are like boom, boom. Shannon says Woody. That's who I had on my list, was Woody. All right. Anybody have an X? X, Y, or Z. Let's do all the last three letters. I had none. X, Y, or Z. X-Men, says Anthony. Yzma, says Shannon. Helen asks if there's a Xavier. Yeti. Zifo, says Blake. Zero, says Tina. I like that. Zero says Project Loop. Xena the Princess Warrior, says Tina. Zazu, says Shannon. Good ones. Xenon, says Anthony. All right, should we go to the next topic? Next one. Xenon, says JJ. Boom. Yzma. Okay. Next one. We're going to try to do both these last ones here real quick if we can. So this one is Project Loop said, this is so fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's fun. It's different, unique, and I like the engagement. Okay, we're going to do the ABCs of Disney Springs. Restaurants, shops, attractions, things at Disney Springs. Start with the letter A. Anybody have an A at Disney Springs? So, Helen, that's the amphibian car. Amoret, says Dina. Airloft, says Wolf. AMC, says Shannon. That's what I had, was AMC. Glassmaker. I know, Anthony, I know what you type, but it's Ariba Brothers. The Ariba Brothers. I think that's the glass shop. Airlift, says Tina. Not Airloft, Airlift. Ariba. Yep, Ariba Brothers. That's what it is, Anthony. All right. Letter B. Anybody with a B? Restaurant, shop, store, attraction at Disney Springs. I thought this was a pretty cool topic because we don't talk about Disney Springs very much. Helen says balloon. Now, there's a name for that balloon, but I know what you're talking about. And that is an awesome attraction. If you've never done the hot air balloon ride at Disney Springs, I highly recommend it. It's not ungodly expensive and amazing views. Shannon said bathroom. Boathouse Restaurant, says Dina. Boathouse Restaurant is what I had on my list, Dina. Helen, can you submit your J from character? Sure. I'll let you. You like bathroom. Oh, man. Okay, so Helen, go ahead and send that. We're going to go to letter C. C is in Charlie. What do you have at Disney Springs, starting with letter C? Jar Jar Binks. That's a really good one. Helen, I like that. Characters in Flight, says Tina. Coach, says Shannon. Good answer. Anybody else with the letter C at Disney Springs before I drop mine? Coca-Cola store, says Anthony and Shannon. You guys are cheating off the same sheet of paper. Chef Art Smith Home Cooking, says Dina. That's a really good one. Chicken Guy, says Anthony. I had Cirque du Soleil on my list. Letter D. D for Disney Springs, but that doesn't count. Disney Pin Store, D Style. You couldn't spell Cirque du Soleil. I love that. Disney Store, says Helen, the big one. I think that's was that World of Disney. My letter D is the Days of Christmas, the Christmas store in Disney. Disney Rafters, says Shannon. Disney Springs Parking Garage, says Anthony. Deluxe Burger, says Dina. Dinosaur. There's a T-Rex dinosaur restaurant there. Dina, have you ever eaten at the Deluxe Burger there? I was thinking about it on the day that we arrived. That was one of my Disney Springs quick serve ideas that I had. Everything but water, says Shannon. She's already moved on to E. So let's move to E. And Dina, you can give me your E and then you can answer. Nope, you've not eaten there. Okay. I cannot get a recommendation from you then on that restaurant. I was thinking about that one. I was thinking about a couple others, but I don't want to say them because they might be somebody's answer to a future letter. Earl of Sandwich, says Anthony, and that is what I had on my list. Earl of Sandwich, which is a place I also considered as a possibility. Earl of Sandwich, says Helen. So, Helen, you guys ate at Earl of Sandwich. You liked it? Let's move to F. Does anybody have an F? Store, attraction, free people, Shannon, as opposed to the expensive people. Great for lunch when you don't want something heavy. Okay, that's good to know, Helen. Thanks. It's always good when you're down at Disney and doing a lot of walking, something that's not too heavy. Free People is a clothing store, Shannon? I did not know that. Interesting. I did not have an F on my list. So let's go to letter G. Anybody with a G? Restaurant or store or attraction? Goofy Candy Company. I love that one, Shannon. That's so good. Gideon Bakehouse. Ooh. Ghirardelli. Tina says. Gillian's Cookies. Ghirardelli. Gap Clothes. Project Loop loaded up the G's. Ganachery says Helen. Gideon says Anthony. I had, what did I have on my list? Where the heck did my list go? The Galactic Outpost. Oh, Helen, it's so cool. All caps don't bother me. I'm good with that. I think, unfortunately, people make too big of a deal out of that at times. Let's go to the letter H. What do you have for an H at Disney Springs? Yeah, Galactic Outpost is closed, Helen, but it used to be there. House of Blues, says Anthony. House of Blues. House of Blues, says Blake. Haagen-Dazs. House of Blues, says Tina. Homecoming, says Helen. I had House of Blues on my list as well. How about an I? Anybody have an I? We're sure they have ice cream, but I don't have an I store or restaurant on my list. I love Disney Springs, says Anthony. That's great. All right, let's go to J then. I lose my money at Disney Springs, says Tina. Joffrey says Dina. Joffrey says Anthony. Joffrey says Shannon. Joffrey says Helen. I feel like I should say Joffrey's. Tina says Joffrey's. I said, where is it at? Jack Lindsay's Hangar Bar. Helen, didn't I recommend that one to you guys before you went down, I think? That's all right. You got an answer. Shannon, I don't know what socks is supposed to mean. Just fun socks. Okay, there you go. Okay. I think I mentioned that one to you, Helen. Maybe not. All right, let's go to K. Does anybody have a K? I don't. I do not have a K. That's all right, Helen. Don't worry about it. I did not have a K. Tina has no idea. Kendra Scott, says Shannon. You must do much more shopping than I do, Shannon, because half these, I think you're making them up, but I know they're true because I believe you, because you would never do that to me. All right. Nobody else with the K, so let's go to L. A store or restaurant or attraction at Disney Springs that starts with an L. Lululemon, says Anthony. Lego store, says Shannon. Love Pop, says Helen. Lego store, says Dina. Lego store, says Blake. Lego store, says Anthony. Lego store, says Tina. Levi, says Anthony. Lego store, says Mike. I said Lego store on my list. That's usually the first store we go to every time we're there. When we were there 2 months ago in May, there was we looked at 3 or 4 different sets. So Tanner, my 19-year-old, who's about to be a sophomore in college, is studying aerospace engineering. He's bought a lot of the really cool spaceship, rocket ship, Lego kits and put them together and has them displayed in his room and in his gaming room. And they had, I think the one he wanted to get was, and don't quote me, but I think it was the big jumbo jet that then had the space shuttle riding on its back. I think that was the one he wanted to get, and it was sold out. And we were supposed to call back another day or 2 later. We never did it. And gosh, I kind of forgot all about it. So we might have to look into that. So anyway, I digress. Lava Lounge, says Shannon. Okay, we knocked out some L's. Those are good ones. Lego store is awesome, though. HIJKL, M Marketplace Co-op, says Tina. Marketplace is what I had. M&M's. I can't believe I didn't say M&M's, Shannon. I love that store. Yes, Dina. I have an orange M&M t-shirt that I got from that store because orange is the color for kidney cancer. And so I proudly wear orange lots and lots. All right. Who has an N? N is a Nancy. I did not have an N store. Is there a Nike at Disney Springs? I don't remember. Hoku. Not that you know of. Okay. I was grasping at straws, Helen. Does anybody, let's move on then. How about an O? Store, restaurant, attraction at Disney Springs that starts with the letter O. Anybody? Olukai. Tina, and nope, you don't have an O. I have, I think it's still there, Once Upon a Toy. Oakley. Shannon has Oakley. Anthony has Oakley. There's a left-handed store, said Helen. Well, that's cool, but what about us righties? What are we supposed to do? I guess I'll just go to Lego store instead. All right, let's go to P. Store, restaurant starts with the letter P. Pop Gallery. Polite Pig, says Tina. Polite Pig, says Dina. Dina, guess what I said? Polite Pig, that's another restaurant. And that's why I didn't want to mention earlier that we might consider doing. I did recommend Polite Pig. Yes, I did. Planet Hollywood says, Blake, that's a good one. Anthony also said Planet Hollywood. Yeah, Polite Pig might be one that we had. I tell you, when we were there 2 months ago, walk into the Lego store, because that's the first place you go, walk right by that, and man, did it smell so good. But we'd already had dinner, and the last thing I wanted to do was have a second dinner. That was our first night we got there. Paddlefish, says Anthony. That's a good one. Planet Hollywood, I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. Poutine, says Shannon. Well, Helen, we came from the buses from All Star Sports. All right, let's go to Q. I did not have a Q. Polite Pig is delicious, Dina. That's good to know. We might do that the night we arrive. We land, I think, like at 4:30 in the afternoon. So we might go check into the resort. Hey, Jessica, how are you? We are playing ABCs. We're doing Disney Springs style right now. Ron John Surf Shop. Shannon, that's a good one. Yeah, we jumped Q. Nobody had a Q. We moved on to R. But yeah, Dina, we might do Polite Pig. Just the smell alone just pull me right in. Raglan Road, that's a good one. I did not have that on my list. I had a different restaurant that starts with an R at Disney Springs. And if you can't guess it, they also have one outside of Animal Kingdom. That had to be a giveaway, didn't it? Rainforest, Anthony. Yes. Rainforest, Helen. Yep, that's what I had on my list. All right, let's go to S. S is in Sam. You want to try the Summer House on the Lake, Dina? I've not had that either. That sounds really good. STK, says Tina. Star Wars Galactic Outpost, says Shannon. Splitsville, says Anthony, and that's what I had on my list. If you've not done Splitsville before, the bowling is fun. They have a lot of really good foods, a lot of appetizers, really good food. Awesome place to go. Helen says she's heard STK is overrated. I've never been, so I can't say. But Splitsville, a lot of fun there. Superhero Headquarters, says Shannon. All right, we nailed that one. How about T? T is in Tom. What are you having at Disney Springs for a T? Trendy, says Shannon. Train, says Tina. Tina, I've never had STK, so I can't say whether I like it or not. T-Rex, says Dina. T-Rex, says Helen. T-Rex said me. That was on my list as well. Dina, I swear we've matched like 10 times, I think. Anthony said T-Rex. Does anybody have a U or a V? We'll do those two letters first. U or V? I had neither. Project Loop with T-Rex. Uniqlo, Under Armour. Uniqlo. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that store is. Obviously, you guys all know what it is. Everybody said it. Vera Bradley says Shannon for V. Now I got to go see what Uniqlo is. I'm going to have to look it up later. It's a clothing store. Does it have really cool clothing that old people like me would wear? Or am I too old? Is it too trendy? Vera Bradley says Tina. I did not have a V on my list. You agree with Shannon on V? It has cheap clothes. Woo! That is for me then. Oh, well, Shannon, if you wear stuff from there, then I know it's for cool people. Cheap but good quality, says Helen. I like that. Hey, if it's good enough for Shannon, then it's absolutely top notch for me. Shannon's like, let's move on. Let's do W. She said World to Disney. So what do we got for W? Helen, if I can't make people laugh, then I'm failing in life. Got to have fun. Got to enjoy ourselves no matter what it is we're doing. Got to enjoy ourselves because there will always be challenges that we face. And so let's enjoy what we can when we can. Wolfgang Puck says Dina. Tina said water. Wonder Maid said Shannon. I had World of Disney on my list. Let's finish out X, Y, or Z. X, Y, or Z. I did not have any of those. Can't help you there. Robbie, how are you? Welcome in. We are playing ABCs of Disney Springs. We are on X, Y, and Z right now. Zara said Shannon. Yo-Yo says Helen. Is that a store or are you just making up words that start with a Y? Isaki Kiosk says Shannon. I'm sure I could find a yo-yo, but true. Probably in one of the toy stores. You're just throwing out words. Well, then I'm just going to say Zimbabwe. Zambezi Zinger. How about that? Those are some Z words for you. All right. I'm out. You guys want to do one last ABCs? And then we'll hang it up for the night? Are you guys up for one more? Yours was on topic. Yeah, Tina, that's me holding Lori's bags. That's right. And JJ's and Brooks. Exactly. You're pretty sure there's a Zales? Project Loop says, let's do it. Helen says, yes, please. Wetzel's Pretzels Kiosk at Disney Springs West Side. Shannon, I love that. Wetzel's Pretzels. Tina says, one more. All right. We are leaving Disney Springs, taking a bus, and we have to take a bus to a resort because then we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom. We're going to do ABCs of Magic Kingdom. Can be anything, ride, show, attraction. What? I'm the best bag holder ever. Yeah. Me and the hook on the wall were tied for first. Aladdin Magic Carpet, says Helen. So we're in Magic Kingdom. ABCs of Magic Kingdom, letter A. Helen dropped it first with Aladdin's Magic Carpets. Single Dad, welcome in. How are you? We are doing ABCs inside the Magic Kingdom. We just started. We're doing letter A. Helen has said Aladdin Magic Carpets. She also said Aladdin Meet and Greet. Anybody else with an A? And Single Dad, so you know, I'm on YouTube on my laptop. I'm on TikTok here on my phone. So I'm looking back and forth. Aladdin Magic Carpet, says Tina. Yes, I'm a good ear holder too. Thanks, Tina, for that. My letter A, I had Astro Orbiter. The Astro Orbiter ride in Tomorrowland. Tina also said Aladdin Magic Carpets. All right, let's go to B. B as in boy. What do you have for your B? Ride, show, attraction, thing inside the Magic Kingdom. Big Thunder, says Project Loop. Very good. Can't wait for that to open back up next year. Buzz Lightyear. Sad to see that close coming up another month or so. Tina with Big Thunder. Barnstormer, says Blake. Big Thunder, says Dina. Big Thunder, says Helen. Barnstormer, says Helen. Barnstormer says Robbie. Be our guest, says Shannon. I had Barnstormer on mine. It's goofy. Got to go that way, right? Let's go to C. What do you have for a C? Ride, show, attraction thing. Cinderella Castle, says Shannon. Crystal Palace, says Project Loop. Carousel of Progress, says Dina. Castle, says Tina. Helen, you need to ride that one and his other ride. Which one are you talking about? And you said Castle. Casey's Corner, says Single Dad. That's a good one. Casey's Corner. I like that. I had the Castle on my list. So let's go to letter D. What do you have for a D inside the Magic Kingdom? Oh, Barnstormer. Oh, you can't say it's a later answer. Okay, gotcha. Dumbo, says Dina. Dumbo, says Helen. Dumbo, says Tina. Anybody with a D over on the TikTok side? Inside the Magic Kingdom, show, ride, attraction, a thing, an item, something you find inside the Magic Kingdom. Letter D is in David. Well, there are multiple Dumbos on that ride. Yeah, 2 different rides, multiple. Donald, says Anthony. Very good answer. Can't spell out the real word. Uh-oh. Oh, was it Dumbo, Shannon? I think that one gets flagged on TikTok. Dole Whip, says Blake. Blake, you are the man. That's what I had my list, was Dole Whip. So let's go to E. A ride, show, attraction, Enchanted Tiki Room, says Shannon. That's a really good one. Ride, show, attraction, the thing you see inside the Magic Kingdom. Egg roll, says Tina. Enchanted Tales with Belle, says Dina. That's a good one. Elsa's Parade Float, says Project Loop. It's a stretch, but I'll give you that one. Enchanted Tales, says Helen. Tiki Room, Single Dad. So I have an E one. It's a sad one. It's a very, very sad one. But they have it at the Magic Kingdom. Can anybody guess what the really sad E word thing that they have at the Magic Kingdom is? Very sad. Emergency services. that would be tragic. Project Loop, but that's a good guess. Eeyore, says Helen. No. Eeyore, says Shannon. No, but they're good. Exit. Boom. Tina, there you got it. The exit starts with an E. They have it. Very sad. Okay. EF. Who's got an F inside the Magic Kingdom? Frontierland, says Shannon. Very good one. Like it. Festival Fantasy Parade, says Dina. Frontierland, says Anthony. You and Shannon again going at it. Floats, says Project Loop. Yep. Float, says Helen. Flight of Passage, but JJ, Flight of Passage is at the Animal Kingdom, not inside the Magic Kingdom. You get an E for effort. That's not an A for effort. Wrong park. Yep. Okay. My F was the Friendship Fair. Flag, says Anthony. That's a good one too. The Flag Retreat is amazing. Shannon's like, she moves on. We're moving to G. Boom. She's got Gaston's Tavern for her letter G. Anybody else with a G? Gift Shop, says Loop. Goofy, says Tina. Goofy Ski School, says Helen. There you go. Fire Truck, says Single Dad. There you go. The fire station too. Finger trigger, happy. Shannon. That's what you were talking about earlier. I got you, Helen. But yes, Tina is correct. It's at the other park with a castle. Although I don't know that I call theirs a castle. It's more like a she shed, isn't it? When you compare the size of the two. I had Gaston's Tavern for my G. Move on. H. What do you got for an H? Boom, Shannon with Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion, Happily Ever After, says Loop. You had those like ready to go. Boom, boom. Haunted Mansion, says Helen. Haunted Mansion, says Tina. Haunted Mansion, says Dina. Anthony, where's your haunted mansion to Matt Shannon? Grim Grinning Ghost. Hall of Presidents, says Anthony. There you go. Haunted Mansion. Anthony. Okay, let's go HI. Somebody have an I inside the Magic Kingdom. It's a small world, says Shannon. That's a good one. It's a small world, says Dina. Ice cream, says Tina. I will tell you that I had the ice cream parlor. Hatbox Ghost, Helen, back on H. That's a good one. I don't know, says Anthony. Well, we're moving to J. Shannon's moving on. She wants me to hurry up so I can go to Shark Week. Jungle Cruise, says Shannon. Had to do it for Anthony. Anthony with Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise. Jack Sparrow, says JJ. Jingle Cruise, says Tina. That's coming up. Jingle Cruise, says Helen. In about another, 3 months? 4 months? July, August, September, October. 4 months. I had Jungle Cruise for mine. How about K? Anybody have a K? You're laughing so much you're crying. Does somebody have a K in the Magic Kingdom? Keys to the Kingdom Tour, says Shannon. Kids, says Helen. That's a good one. I like that one. Kingdom, says Tina. Simply Kingdom. I had Keys to the Kingdom Tour as well on my list. Let's go to L. What do you got for L? Now, JJ, you know darn good and well that Kilimanjaro Safaris is not in the Magic Kingdom. Biggest smile you've had all day, Helen. I love it. But my looks aren't everything, right? Helen says laugh floor. Liberty Bell, says Sherry. Sherry, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Liberty Tree Tavern, says Shannon. Liberty Bell, says Anthony. Laugh floor, says Tina. Yes, JJ's hanging out in Animal Kingdom. Laugh floor, says Dina. Of course you did, because I had Laugh Floor on my list, Dina. I love that show. I think it's so fun. We laugh hard at that all the time. Lake, for now. Of course I did. I have, it says Laugh Floor. I love that show so much. I laugh so hard at that. You're more of an Animal Kingdom girl at heart. Plus, I haven't slept in over 2 days. All right, you get a hall pass, JJ. We've moved on to M over here. Shannon has gone with Main Street USA. Anthony with the monorail. Can you count monorail? It's not inside the Magic Kingdom. I'll give it to you. Mad Tea Party. Mickey's Ice Cream Bar. I got to keep up with Shannon. She moves on. Mickey says Single Dad. Sherry says Mickey. Mad Hatter says Helen. Mickey Mouse says Helen. They have monorail toys, says Shannon. That's true. Minnie, says Anthony. Not to be outdone with Mickey. Minnie, says Helen. Blake says Mickey statue. That's a good one. I had Mickey on my list. How about N? Anybody with an N inside the Magic Kingdom? Shannon said money. I never have any of that when I'm inside the Magic Kingdom. Neverland. Memories, says Anthony. I love that for an M. That's a good one. Napping adults on Carousel of Progress. Tina, shame on you. Anybody else with an N before I drop mine? Memory Maker, says Single Dad. That's a good M1. I like that. That's a really good one. Napkins, says Shannon. Maybe I'll act mine out, see if you guys can guess what it is. All right, ready? Here's my N. Anybody guess what my N is by that? I'm going to count to about 10 if I get no answers. Neil, says Dina. Boom. Project Loop, says Neil. Yes, the piano player at Casey's Corner, Neil. Amazing. Amazing guy. Super nice guy, too. And a memory like a steel trap. I met him one time and had commented about liking Huey Lewis and News and tried to get him to play Huey Lewis and News. And he's like, oh, maybe I'll learn something for the next time. A year and a half, I swear it was a year and a half goes by. I hadn't seen the guy for a year and a half. We're there at Magic Kingdom, walk up. He's already playing his set. He looks and sees us walking over. And again, I haven't seen him for a year and a half. And in tune, whatever song he was playing, he rolled right into a Huey Lewis song until I got my phone ready to record, and he boom went right back to whatever Disney song he was playing. It was amazing, just incredible. The fact that he remembered and that he learned something like that and did it was awesome. Okay, sorry, but see, Shannon, you're already moving to N to O. Sherry was Not So Scary, which is an awesome one for N. I like that a lot. JJ, you've met Neil. He is sweet. He is a very sweet guy, very nice guy. Okay, let's go to O. Shannon said Oak Tree. Shannon and I had Oak Tree on mine. Orange Bird, says Anthony. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah, I had Oak Tree. Oogie Boogie, says Tina. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. He let Anthony say Orange Bird. Oh, man. Okay, let's go to P. What do you have for a P word? Show, attraction, item inside Magic Kingdom. Pirates of the Caribbean, says Shannon. Pirate, says Project Loop. Philhar Magic, says Tina. Peter Pan, says Dina. People Mover, says Sherry. Good one. Pinocchio Village House, says Helen. Helen, that's what I had on my list. Pinocchio Village House. Peter Pan, Pirates. Princesses, says Anthony. That's a good one, too. Awesome. We nailed the letter P. Okay, who has a Q? Pizza, says Helen. I could go for pizza. I saw a commercial for pizza last night. I was digging it. Shannon, don't be jumping ahead. We got to do Q first. Questions, says Anthony. Quesadillas. A Q line. I'm running out of a drink. Queen of Hearts, says Sherry. I had quick serve. Boom, Shannon, right there. Quick service restaurants. Yeah, there are a lot of Q lines, that's for sure. All right. Shannon, now you can do your R. What does everybody have for the letter R? Yeah, Shannon and Helen said slow down. Shannon and Anthony both have railroad. Railroad, says Tina. Rapunzel meet and greet, says Dina. Roy Disney, says Helen. Railroad, says JJ. Rapunzel Castle, says Single Dad. Oh, you're watching the game as you do this. I see. All right, so you're moving on. Rapunzel bathrooms, Helen. That's what I had on my list. Those are the Rapunzel bathrooms. QRS. How about an S inside the Magic Kingdom? Ride, show, or attraction. The Sun, says Tina. Space Mountain, says Shannon. Snow White's ride. Project Loop. Starbucks, Speedway, Sleepy Hollow, Snow White, Starlight Cafe, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, Tina. That's a really good one. Starbucks, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Strollers. Out of those, Starlight Parade, Helen, that was my answer. I thought of that as I was writing your guys' questions down about Starlight Parade that I answered earlier. Sword in the Stone, says Sherry. It's a very good one. All right, let's go to T. Plenty of T's to come up with. Coney's Town Square. Tigger, Tiki Room, Tigger Tail, Tomorrowland, Time, Tron, Tom Sawyer's Island, Tony's Town Square, Tomorrowland, Tinkerbell. I had the Tomorrowland Speedway for my T. Let's go to U in the home stretch. Anybody with a U inside the Magic Kingdom? Under the Sea, says Shannon. Umbrella, says Helen. Umbrella, says Tina. Ursula, says Sherry. Uniform, says Anthony. That's a very clever one. I had umbrella for mine. Under the Sea, says Dina. I had umbrellas. Think of the blue and white customer service umbrellas. Umbrellas. Okay. V. V, V, V. V for victory. What do we have inside the Magic Kingdom with a V? Very Merry Christmas Party, says Shannon. Voices, says Helen. There are plenty of those. Very nice cast member, says Tina. Shannon and I had Very Merry Christmas Party on my list. Let's go to W. Vertical lines. Wishing Well, says Shannon. That's a really good one. I like that one. Walt, says Project Loop. Single Dad says Vroom when running from the rain. Sherry said Walt. Tina says Walt. Helen said Walt. I like that Vroom. Single Dad. That's a good one. I had the Walt Disney Railroad. So I went official title, Walt Disney World Railroad. Walls, says Helen. Yes, there are some of those. Walt, says Dina. Walkers, says Anthony. Shannon says, let's move on to X. She had Excalibur. Wind on a good day, says Project Loop. That is a good one. Unless you're Tinkerbell flying, that's not so good. Woody's Lunchbox is in Hollywood Studios, JJ. If I do an ABCs of anything outside of Magic Kingdom, you're going to rock. Maybe we'll do next week, JJ, maybe I'll do Animal Kingdom for you. You'll nail that one. Excalibur for the X. I think that's probably all we're going to get. How about Y? Do we have a Y inside the Magic Kingdom? Ye Old Christmas Shop, says Shannon. JJ says, okay, I quit. Tina has no idea. Young People, says Anthony. Yellow Dapper Dan. Very good Project Loop. I like that. Tina says she's out. Yellow dress, says Shannon, which would be Belle in her yellow dress. Beautiful. So I had two answers. The official answer is Ye Old Christmas Shop. But when I'm there in November, Shannon, my answer would be you would be inside the Magic Kingdom. Right? Or Anthony, you inside the Magic Kingdom. Dina, you inside the Magic Kingdom. Like that one. All right. How about a Z? The last one, and then we're going to wrap it up for today. You can't learn. JJ, we're doing Animal Kingdom next time for you. Thanks, Dina. I thought that was pretty good too. There's probably a zombie in Haunted Mansion, says Project Loop. Zurg, says Helen. Zebras for JJ, said Tina. Zurg says Dina. Zebras, says Anthony. Anthony, yes, we will be in the Magic Kingdom in November. You will. Zebras on the Jungle Cruise. Anthony, that's right. Dina, I had Zurg on my list too. I have to go back and replay this and listen. We had a match a dozen times, I bet. Amazing. Zebra Stripe Candy Apples, says Shannon. That sounds tasty. I'm going to have to go find me a snack after this. All right, gang, it's time to wrap up. Thanks for joining me tonight. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. I really enjoy doing these fun interactive things at the end of our chats. I like the interaction with you a lot, so I really appreciate you guys being here. Zero wanting to leave, says Shannon. I like that. Amazing cast members, said Single Dad. Very good. So I do appreciate you guys spending time with me. I know there's a million other things you could be doing, so I appreciate it. Have our Discord channel. That's where you can put your questions if you want to. That's where CC and Dina dropped their questions that I answered earlier this evening. You can always do that. zero patience at the end of the day, says Anthony. For some people, it doesn't even make it to the end of the day and they have zero patience. Thank you, Blake. I appreciate it. I'm going to go watch Shark Week. I did want to mention real quick, there are 3 Halloween party dates that have sold out so far. So it's starting to happen. Christmas party dates will probably be out there for a little bit while still. Shannon says, let's go Cubbies. Shark Week, says Anthony. There you go. All right. I think we're going to wrap. Thank you again, guys. Have a great night and even better tomorrow. And remember, when you wake up tomorrow, it's a great day to be alive. I really appreciate everybody. We will see all of you again next time. Bye, guys.